The Monetary Policy Committee MPC met on 5th, 6th and 7th April 2021 and deliberated on current and evolving macroeconomic and financial developments, both domestic and global. The MPC voted unanimously to leave the policy repo rate unchanged at 4%. It also unanimously decided to continue with the accommodative stance as long as necessary to sustain growth on a durable basis and continue to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on the economy while ensuring that inflation remains within the target going forward. The marginal standing facility, that is MSF rate and bank rate, remain unchanged at 4.2%. The reverse repo rate stands unchanged at 3.35%. Global growth is gradually recovering from the slowdown, but it remains uneven across countries and is supported by ongoing vaccination drives, sustained accommodative monetary policies and further sizable fiscal stimulus. World output is projected by the OECD to reach its pre-pandemic level by mid-2021, though it will be largely contingent on the pace of vaccine distribution and its efficacy against emerging variants of the virus. Stronger external demand should support India's exports and investment demand. In the domestic economy, the focus must now be on containing the spread of the virus as well as on economic revival, that is, consolidating the gains achieved so far and sustaining the impulses of growth in the new financial year 21-22. A key aspect of this strategy will be to strengthen the bedrock of macroeconomic stability that has anchored India's revival from the pandemic. This will help stakeholders in taking efficient spending decisions over longer horizons, thereby improving the investment climate. Public investment in key infrastructure sectors is a force multiplier with historically proven ability to revive the broader economy by directly enhancing the capital stock and productivity and by attracting private investment. The focus of the Union Budget 21-22 on investment-led measures with increased allocations for capital expenditure, the expanded PLI scheme, the rising capacity utilization from 63.3% in Q2 of 2021 to 66.6% in Q3 of 2021 will reinforce the progress and the process of economic revival. In fact, firms engaged in manufacturing, services, infrastructure sector polled by the Reserve Bank in March 21 are optimistic about the pickup in demand and expansion of business activity into the financial year 21-22. Juxtaposition of high frequency lead and coincident indicators reveals that economic activity is normalizing in spite of the surge in infections. Rural demand remains buoyant and record agricultural production in 2021 bodes well for its resilience. Urban demand has gained traction and should get fillip with the ongoing vaccination drive. The recent surge in COVID-19 infections, however, adds uncertainty to the domestic growth outlook amidst tightening of restrictions by some state governments. In India, we are now better prepared to meet the challenges posed by this resurgence of infections. Fiscal and monetary authorities stand ready to act in coordinated manner to limit its spillovers to the economy at large and contain its fallout on the ongoing process of recovery. There is concern around rising cases of infections, but as Martin Luther King Jr. had said, and I quote, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." The increase in international commodity prices since February policy and recurrence of global financial market volatility, like the bout experienced in late February, accentuates the downside risks. The upside risks, however, come from Number one, the vaccination programs being speeded up and increasingly extended to wider segments of the population. Second, the gradual release of pent-up demand. And third, the investment enhancing and growth supportive reform measures taken by the government. Taking these factors into consideration, the projection of real GDP growth for 2021-22 is retained at 10.5%, consisting of 26.2% in Q1, 8.3% in Q2, 5.4% in Q3 and 6.2% in Q4 of 21-22. While headline inflation at 5% in February 21 remains within the tolerance band, some underlying constituents are testing the upper tolerance level. Going forward, the food inflation trajectory will critically depend on the temporal and spatial progress of southwest monsoon in its 2021 season. Second, some respite from the incidence of domestic taxes on petroleum products through coordinated action by centre and states could provide relief on top of the recent easing of international crude prices. Third, a combination of international commodity prices and logistics costs may push up input price pressures across manufacturing and services. Taking into consideration all these factors, the projection for CPI inflation has been revised to 5% in Q4 of 2021, 5.2% in Q1 21-22, 5.2% also in Q2 of 21-22, 4.4% in Q3 and 5.1% in Q4, with risks broadly balanced. On March 31st, 2021, the government retained the inflation target at 4%, with the lower and upper tolerance levels of 2% and 6% respectively for the next 5 years, that is from April 21 to March 2026. An inflation rate of 4% over the medium term has now been successfully entrenched in the economic landscape. The experience with efficaciously maintaining price stability and the gains in credibility for monetary policy since the beginning of the inflation targeting framework in 2016 are reinforced by retention of the target and the tolerance band. From the time after the MPC was constituted in September 2016, average CPI inflation for the period October 2016 to February 2020 prior to the onset of COVID-19 pandemic was 3.8%. down from average 7.3% during January 2012 to September 2016. Our research suggests that trend inflation has moderated during the flexible inflation targeting period to around 4% in the recent times. The experience during COVID-19 pandemic period has testified to the flexibility of the framework to respond to sharp growth inflation trade-offs and extreme supply side shocks over the course of the business cycle. Monetary policy over the next 5 years would aim at consolidating and building upon the credibility gains of the first 5 years of inflation targeting, that is flexible inflation targeting. In my statements over the past few policy announcements, I have been reiterating the Reserve Bank's commitment to ensuring ample liquidity, ample system liquidity in consonance with the accommodative stance of the MPC. When I say ample liquidity, I mean a level of liquidity that would keep the system surplus, even after meeting the requirements of all financial market segments and productive sectors of the economy. From that perspective, our endeavor has been to conduct liquidity management operations conducive for promoting orderly market conditions. This approach has yielded results. It has facilitated the successful completion of central and state government borrowing programs of close to 22 lakh crore at record low costs with elongated maturity during 2021. It has also facilitated significant amount of private borrowing through corporate bonds, commercial papers and debentures. It would be worthwhile to note that despite the recommencement of the 14-day variable rate reverse repo, that is VRRR auctions since January 15, liquidity absorbed through the fixed rate reverse repo has steadily increased from fortnightly average of rupees 4.3 lakh crore during January 16 to 29 to 4.9 lakh crore during January 30 to March 31st, 2021. Reflecting the surplus liquidity, reserve money has risen by 14.2% as on March 26 year on year, driven by currency demand, while money supply, that is M3, grew by 11.8% as on March 26, with bank credit growth at 5.6%. In view of the success of VRRR and given the rising levels of surplus liquidity, it has now been decided to conduct VRRR, that is variable rate reverse repo auctions of longer maturity as indicated in the revised liquidity management framework announced on February 6 last year. The amount and tenor of these auctions will be decided based on the evolving liquidity and financial conditions. This is a part of the liquidity management operations of the Reserve Bank of India, and it should not be read as liquidity tightening. Strong interconnectedness of financial markets across borders and progressive integration into global financial cycle, there was an upsurge of investor unease in India despite repeated assurances and forward guidance on liquidity given by the Reserve Bank. Taking note of the market's discomfort and in consonance with our commitment to ensure ample liquidity and orderly market conditions, the Reserve Bank scaled up its open market operations, OMOs, in February and conducted 5 special OMOs, that is Operation Twists, in February and March. Reserve Bank also increased the amount for the Operation Twist auction on March 4th from 10,000 crore to rupees 15,000 crore. Reserve Bank also adopted an innovative asymmetrical special OMO, that is purchase of 20,000 crore and sale of rupees 15,000 crore on March 10, 2021 to reinforce the compression of term premia as well as to inject liquidity, which drew a favorable market response. These were clear signals that the Reserve Bank will support the market with adequate liquidity through the various instruments in its toolkit. The liquidity impact of OMOs could be gauged from the fact that we made net outright purchases amounting to rupees 3.13 lakh crore during 2020-21. For the year 21-22, drawing on experience, we have decided to put in place what is termed as a secondary market GSEC acquisition program. I repeat, a secondary market GSEC acquisition program, or GSAP 1.0, to give it a distinct character. Under the program, the Reserve Bank will commit upfront to a specific amount of open market purchases of government securities with a view to enabling a stable and orderly evolution of the yield curve amidst comfortable liquidity conditions. The endeavor will be to ensure congenial financial conditions for the recovery to gain traction. For Q1 of 21-22, therefore, it has been decided to announce a GSAP of rupees 1 lakh crore. The first purchase of government securities for an aggregate amount of rupees 25,000 crore under GSAP 1.0 will be conducted on April 15, 2021. The positive externalities of GSAP 1.0 operations need to be seen in the context of those segments of the financial markets that rely on GSEC yield curve as a pricing benchmark. In addition, the extension of held to maturity dispensation opens up space for investments of more than rupees 4 lakh crore. We will also continue to deploy our regular operations under the LAF, longer term repo, reverse repo auctions, forex operations and open market operations, including special OMOs, to ensure liquidity conditions evolve in consonance with the stance of the monetary policy and financial conditions are supportive of all stakeholders. While laying out the liquidity management strategy for 21-22, let me unequivocally state that the Reserve Bank's endeavor is to ensure orderly evolution of the yield curve, governed by fundamentals as distinct from any specific level thereof. Our objective is to eschew volatility in the GSEC market in view of its central role in the pricing of other financial market instruments across the term structure and issuers, both in the public and private sectors. This is a necessary prerequisite for nascent and hesitant recovery to firm up and become more durable. Needless to add, two-way movements in bond yields consistent with the fundamentals are quite normal from a market perspective. However, such movements should not be abrupt and disruptive if financial stability has to be preserved. The Reserve Bank will of course continue to do whatever it takes to preserve financial stability and to insulate domestic financial markets from global spillovers and the consequent volatility. I would urge market participants to take heed of our actions, communication and signals in a balanced manner. With a view to increasing the focus of liquidity measures on revival of activity in specific sectors, the TLTRO on-tap scheme announced on October 9, 2020, which was made available up to March 31st, 2021, is now being further extended by a period of 6 months, that is up to September 30, 2021. With a view to furthering the financial inclusion and to expand the ability of payment banks to cater to the growing needs of their customers, the current limit on maximum end-of-day balance of rupees 1 lakh per individual customer is being increased to rupees 2 lakh with immediate effect. Asset reconstruction companies, that is ARCs, play an important role in the resolution of stressed assets. Their potential, however, is yet to be fully realized. It is therefore proposed to constitute a committee to undertake a comprehensive review of the working of ARCs and recommend measures to enable these entities to meet the growing requirements of the financial sector. Membership to the RBI operated centralized payment systems, that is RTGS and NEFT, is currently limited to banks with a few exceptions. It is now proposed to enable non-bank payment system operators like prepaid payment instruments, that is PPI issuers, card networks, white label ATM operators and trades platforms regulated by the Reserve Bank to take direct membership in RTGS and NEFT. This facility is expected to minimize settlement risk in the financial system and enhance the reach of digital financial services to all user segments. We are also announcing interoperability of PPIs and increase in the account limit to 2 lakhs. Let me elaborate. The Reserve Bank had issued guidelines in October 2018 for adoption of interoperability on voluntary basis for full KYC prepaid payment instruments. As migration towards interoperability has not been significant, it is now proposed to make interoperability mandatory for full KYC PPIs and for all payment acceptance infrastructure. To incentivize migration of PPIs to full KYC, it is proposed to increase the current outstanding balance in such PPIs from rupees 1 lakh to rupees 2 lakh. Detailed circular on this will be issued separately, and we will provide adequate time for the entire process of transition to happen. At present, cash withdrawal is allowed only for full KYC prepayment instruments. prepaid payment instruments, that is PPIs, issued by banks. As a confidence boosting measure and to bring uniformity across PPI issuers, it is now proposed to allow cash withdrawals for full KYC PPIs of non-bank PPI users. This measure, in conjunction with the mandate for interoperability, will boost migration to full KYC PPIs and would also complement the acceptance infrastructure in Tier 3 to Tier 6 centers. Under the external commercial borrowing, that is ECB framework, borrowers are allowed to place ECB proceeds in term deposits with AD category 1 banks in India for a maximum period of 12 months. In view of the difficulty faced by borrowers due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it has been decided to permit parking of unutilized ECB proceeds drawn down on or before March 1st, 2020 in term deposits with AD category 1 banks in India prospectively up to 1st March 2022.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.